Hey, what it do? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. So we are almost back to organized chaos. You guys can see that we got one bay cleaned out in here. So we're gonna be working on those old welders that I picked up a couple videos back. You guys know that we already got that one working. I'm gonna bring it in out of the weather anyways. Even though it spent the last year of its life sitting out in the weather, I still feel kind of bad that it's sitting out there in the rain. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bring it in because I do wanna clean it up some more. We may be giving it a custom paint job. Not gonna be happening in this video. We are gonna bring the other welder in that we tried to get started and we failed. So if we can't get that old welder up and working, one of the things that we're gonna do, I'm going to be dragging that contraption right there. Maybe kind of hard to pick up on camera, but that is one of the feeder for our cattle. It is broken to where like it just kind of pivots and falls over. So if we can get it welding, hopefully we can repair that thing. And as always, there may be some other stuff that makes its way into this video, but if you guys enjoy it, let's go ahead and jump on into it and let's roll. All right, well, it's not as easy to pick up anymore. Oh!
There's dirt on my hands.
We missed our sweet spot.
Like a tree.
Let's see how it goes.
There's roots where I stand.
I think we'll be all right. It's
I've been running from the Lord.
and we have another intake manifold gasket. It's gonna go right there.
They won't shoot me
We'll go ahead and
down
set that off to the side. How do you think it's gonna handle it? What do you think it weighs? I've read they're about 1,400 pounds.
Try to catch me howling at
I think it's gonna start. Let's cross our fingers. Let's go ahead and turn this back on. Had to stop and rethink my plan a little bit. I basically just had a slip knot going through right here and then one strap over each fork, but the carriage is way too high and I was gonna hit the roof coming in. So I had to bring it back down and just do it like this. I think we'll be good enough. I don't think I'll hit that anymore. For those of you who watched the video when we were unloading these things, this one's got this super sweet stack on it, which honestly, I'm surprised it made the trip, but this tends to hit the fork. We're gonna go ahead and set this guy off to the side right now. We'll come back and grab him in a little bit. All right, welder number 2 is up in the air. Whew. Supposedly there's a pretty wicked storm rolling in tonight, so I'm gonna go ahead and park the GMC under the hay barn just in case. All right, so as usual, I did get a little bit sidetracked, but the shop is looking much, much cleaner. Starting to get a little bit on the organized side. You guys can tell that we ended up closing the doors too because the rain was just pouring out here. But at least we've got like a nice clean workspace now. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna open up this guy. If you guys remember from the video when we picked these things up, that we think the fuel system is pretty gelled up and that we were not getting any fuel to the carburetor. So we're gonna go ahead and start cleaning everything out. I probably am gonna blow this out. A lot of spider webs, a little too much for me. So we'll get that cleaned off. Then we'll start to take the carburetor out. Probably in like 2 or 3 videos from now, I'm gonna do something that I'm really excited about. I'm not gonna do it with this welder, but we have one back there that's just like missing a bunch of stuff. And I'm really excited to go ahead and dismantle everything from start to finish because I've always wondered what the inside of one of these things look like. So we're not gonna be doing that in this video, but if you're a nerd like me, might be something to look forward to. So anyhow, let's see, there's the fuel bowl right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that air hose dragged over here so we can start blowing this thing out. So this is probably gonna be my least favorite part of this whole procedure, is getting all this junk off. You may wanna back up a little bit. Further, 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 further. Just kidding. All right, so I just learned a very valuable lesson. Do not blow these out inside the shop. There was way more dirt and sand and whatever else was packed up in there than I thought there was gonna be. And so much for sweeping. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little sweep again, and then we'll go ahead and start draining the fuel out of these things. All right, so we got this fuel bowl right here. This is originally what we were looking at, where we were like, man, we can't even tell if there's any fuel in there or what. It's pretty clouded up. It's kind of pretty clever design. It's got this nut that twists back and forth, and basically it threads down, and then you can go like this and move that out of the way, and then this should come off. I'm hoping it's relatively easy. I don't know if I'm gonna make a huge mess right now, So hopefully I don't, but I may have to set the camera down to do this. So let me go ahead and see what I'm gonna do. Good enough. Oh, there we go. Well, we got gas coming out. That's a good sign. Okay, let's see if I can stop it. So that works, but man, oh man, is that gross. So I don't know how long this machine sat, but I'm guessing at least 4 or 5 years. That is some nasty stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and get this little glass bowl cleaned out, and then we'll probably take off the rest of the hoses, get those cleaned out. I may try and replace them. I think I have some hose to replace it, but for now, let's go ahead and start with this thing. All right, so I've got a couple good things going for me. I went ahead and disconnected the main fuel hose where it goes down into the carburetor right there. And we had some halfway decent gas come out. You guys can see that the bowl is much, much cleaner. We're gonna go ahead and get this guy back in place. Try and get that on there. I'm gonna have to get a wrench to spin that though, because this was pretty rusted. Did not spin very freely, so as soon as I get that filled back up, we'll go ahead and open the valve up. And we should be able to see like actual clean gas. Well, I'm gonna say cleanish because this tank is pretty filthy. Sat dry for quite some time. It's got a little bit of rust in there, but all right, that's hopefully tight enough. Open this guy up. It's looking a little, whoa. Okay, let's see if we can get some nice clean gas to come pouring out.
I need clean.
Well, that's cool. We got no gas coming through.
I got yellow gas. Wait, is that gas?
That is gas. But I think we got a serious clog up there. All right, so down here, and I'll show it to you guys in just a little bit, there's like a tiny little inlet, and I think it's plugged up pretty good. So I'm gonna try and not lose my screwdriver right now. And this is gonna have to be like almost completely by feel. Oh boy. Yeah, there's the hole. Hopefully my arm doesn't get stuck. That would be awful. Okay, it's feeling pretty clean. Is that bolt filling up?
What?
Is that bolt filling up?
Yeah, it's full.
All right, so we got a halfway decent amount of fuel flow right here. It is making its way through the filter. We could probably definitely pick one of these up, and I will in the future, but the goal for today is to get this thing started. So we're gonna go ahead and hook this back up to the carburetor, and then hopefully we'll get some fresh gas down into the carburetor. So I'm hoping that they let this machine run dry, and basically what that means is that they shut the fuel off, and then they let it run out of gas till the machine cuts off. And then that way you don't have any fuel in the carburetor to gunk it up or anything like that. My luck probably did not happen, but we're gonna cross our fingers that it did. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut the fuel back off. Okay, there we go. We're gonna go ahead and hook all this stuff back up. Okay, bingo. Let's go ahead and get that tightened back up. All right, well now that we've got a good battery hooked up to it, let's go ahead and see if, light must be on when running. Okay, so that is not important. Now I would like to think that this thing is just gonna fire up, but I've got my doubts. But if it does, we're gonna put a little bit more gas in it, just to make sure that it can run for just a little bit. So originally I was nervous to put more than like half a gallon in here, but now that I know that the fuel bowl, we're able to shut things down and it's not gonna leak gas. Uh-oh. Looks like we got a split hose right here. So that's definitely gonna need replacing. But I don't think it's gonna deter me from trying to start this thing. It does have a little leak. All right, we got the jump starter on there. Let's give it a whirl. Attempt number 2. You know what, one thing I should probably check is the oil. That would probably be smart. probably grinding dirt up and down in the cylinders right now. Let's see. Doesn't look too bad, actually. Okay, that's a good sign. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, you guys, I think we're starting to get somewhere. Check this out. We're so close. We're so close. Come on, girl. Automatic. High. We're gonna do automatic idle. All right. Well, I just put a little bit of starting fluid in the air inlet. Let's see what it does. All right, so I didn't get it started today, but we made some good progress. We found out that pretty much this is gunked up. So tomorrow morning when I get back up here, we're gonna go ahead and disassemble all of this stuff right here. Then overnight, we'll go ahead and set this guy on the charger so that we get a good, nice, strong battery for all the endless hours of cranking that we're gonna have to do tomorrow. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so we're gonna have to go on a little side adventure. I was coming over here to grab the pry bar because I actually wanted to move the front end of the welder over that way. And as I walk over this way, you guys, I think we had like the downpour of all downpours last night. So I never once in the entire time that I've been out here have had water and mud come into this side of the shop like this. So on the other side of that wall, that means it's gonna be way worse. Now I've already been over there and I know what it looks like and I've started cleaning it up already, but you guys, man, it just absolutely dumped out here last night. So anyhow, I'm gonna go clean up on that side of the shop real quick. I'm not sure if you guys can hear the John Deere warming up. We're gonna go ahead and drag back all the dirt that came down, and I'm gonna try and clean the shop up a little bit, but it is such a soupy mess in there right now. I'm gonna try and get the bulk of the stuff out, and as far as all the water goes, we're just gonna let it dry, and then I'll go in there and do the fine cleaning. It's always something. So I knew that there was a storm coming in last night. That's why I parked this tractor underneath the hay barn, kind of protect it. But here's another indicator that storm was just raging. You guys see this seat cushion right here? It used to be sitting right there. So that wind just must have been howling through here last night. So anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and get this tire aired up. Then I gotta go drag all the mud out in front of the shop. And realistically, I don't know why the shop was built right here. I wish they'd have built the pad up about 6 feet higher to avoid these issues. Because when we first bought this place, I didn't even know that shop had a concrete floor. It had about, yeah, I'd say that much dirt on top of the concrete. So realistically, it's not in a good place. But it is what it is. I still love the shop and I make do with it, and I'll probably never change it. I'll just complain about it. So it's not too hard to tell, but you guys can see the water came racing down and just went straight into the shop. And the only way to really avoid that would be to either build this way up and put like a retaining wall right here and make the water go that way, or somehow divert it this way. But then to do that, we would have to take this way down, and we're already down farther than we are in that field. So it might just be one of those things that I have to deal with forever, or drop a ton of money to build a wall right there, which I don't really see that happening. So I'm gonna go ahead and just clean this off and hope that it's like a 1 in every 12 years kind of storm, because I can deal with that. Think we should call it quits? It's raining again?
You done? I don't think it's gonna come over the threshold anymore. It was just like a year of not maintaining this silt that came down here in a good rainstorm.
All right, well, I think that's gonna be about it for today. We went and pulled all the freezers out. We got all the mud mucked out from underneath it, got it all pushed outside. We used the 210 and some shovels to pretty much scrape off the rest of it. But as you guys can tell, it started raining again. So on the off chance that it starts pouring again, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this part up because there's a good chance that more mud comes in right now. So we're gonna head back to the shop. We're gonna start working on the welders, and hopefully today's the day that I get that old one started. All right, well, we went ahead and got the main fuel hose off. I probably will be picking up another filter, but that hose is just trash. It's cracked, it's leaking all over the place. So next up, we're gonna go ahead and take off some of this linkage. So it might be a little bit hard to pick up on camera, but I drew a black line across this because we're gonna take this off. We're just gonna let it hang, and I wanna put it back exactly how we took it apart. So once that's off, we're gonna go ahead and then take this linkage off, and then from there, I think we can disconnect. This is the choke right here. We'll go ahead and loosen those and then unbolt it from there, and it should just drop off, I think. I don't think there's anything else connecting this to the engine. Looking back in the 70s, guys, the engineers were after us. There is this little metal tube that comes down, which I'm assuming is just like a crankcase vent, but it runs right underneath this carburetor right here. And I don't know if this is gonna drop off. We've got everything disconnected so far, so I'm gonna go ahead and start prying on it. We have these studs that actually go down into the carburetor, so we gotta go down at least an inch, and I don't think we have an inch right there. But who knows? Maybe I'll be able to get it off. So I'm gonna go ahead and start prying, and we'll see where we get. Let's see if this will stay put. Hey. Okay, it's working its way nicely. Nope, already hitting. Oh, how do we get that thing off? Man, I think I'm gonna have to take this thing off too. This will probably make it way easier to take this thing off. Probably should have done this from the get-go, but I'm not wanting to make a huge mess yet. So we're like risk reward type stuff. Now spiders usually don't scare me, but that right there, there's at least 6 black widow nests in there. So that puts me a little over the top. But here it is. Let's go ahead and take this off and take it over to the workbench. So last night I decided to mix things up a little bit, and we did a live video taking this carburetor apart. Now I've never taken apart a carburetor that was quite this old. And there's some weird stuff in here. If you guys are interested in seeing what's going on and how we took this thing apart, you can go back and watch the live video. But it's pretty much the same concept as any other carburetor. You've got needles and jets and all this stuff, but the castings on this guy, man, this is like a heavy carburetor for how small it is. Very well built. So I don't remember who made the comment. I have a real hard time doing that on live videos because there's a bunch of them. But someone right off the bat said, is that a Marvel Schebler? You know, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but this is how you spell it. Marvel Schebler. And fun fact about these old Lincoln Welders, they use what I believe is called a Continental flathead style 4-cylinder engines, which was very common in the old Ford track. So if we take a look at this rebuild kit, it says carburetor repair kit for a Ford. And you flip it around, it has a 9N, a 2N, an 8N, and it says from 1939 to 1952. So I don't know what year this welder is, but as we come over and look at the faceplate, I mean, it's entirely possible that this thing is super old. So I'm actually gonna look up the serial number, the code, see when these things were actually built, and see if I could get like an actual date of manufacturing, because as of now, I have no idea what it is, but these are pretty old looking panels. This style knob is definitely on the older side. Can't even move it. Oh, yeah, that thing's been sitting for a while. So this could be like an extremely old welder. So one of the things that makes me believe this is a really old welder is because it still uses a magneto style ignition. And this kind of like became unpopular, I think, in the mid 70s. Don't quote me on that. I know my Volkswagen Bug still ran that style ignition, so I'm not 100% sure when that phased out, but I think it was mid 70s. So anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and open this up. We are going to see if we can successfully rebuild this thing. And I was gonna go pick up a supersonic or ultrasonic or whatever sonic parts cleaner from Harbor Freight today, but I found a pretty big one on Amazon that I think is a 22-liter capacity, so it's pretty big. So I went ahead and ordered it because I think I'm gonna be needing it if I'm gonna go ahead and restore all these other welders. So for now, we're just gonna get a little bit high in the shop. We'll use some carb cleaner, try and get the rest of the stuff cleaned out, and go ahead and get this thing put back together. All right, well, let's go ahead and get this thing opened up, see what comes with it. We have a plastic bag of parts right there. We'll set that off to the side. Not sure what that is. Another fancy lever with some linkage. I don't think we have one of these, but we'll set that off to the side. We got 2 new gaskets. Hopefully these fit. Looks about right to me. We'll set that guy off to the side for now. And we have another intake manifold gasket that's gonna go right there. So we'll go ahead and set that off to the side too. And we have instructions. with a black and white picture with not a whole lot of detail. So we'll see how this goes, and then it does give you some primary adjustments. Gives you the set idle screw on throttle shaft, blah, 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 blah. So let's go ahead and see if we can do this. All right, so right off the bat, we do have a couple differences. You guys have this little, I don't know, butterfly valve, or whatever you want to call that. So that plate would screw onto this right here. But as you can tell, the linkage that comes out is a little bit different because we have this guy that hooks onto, I don't remember what that hooks onto, but we don't have a space to install this on that. So I think for the time being, we're gonna go ahead and exnay this piece. We will set that off to the side. I'm having some minor issues. We have this little tiny piece right there that is not wanting to come out. And I don't even know if there's a replacement in the kit. So we're gonna go ahead and open this bag up and see if there is a replacement for that part. If there's not, we're gonna leave it back together because that is the very last piece of the puzzle in this guy that is serviceable. All right, so I'm either gonna destroy this carburetor right now and we're gonna be hitting up Amazon for a cheap replacement, or we're successful in extracting this. I'm gonna go ahead and drill out where the pilot hole is, and I think it kind of goes at an angle that way. So we're just gonna drill out very slowly, and we're gonna graduate from small to big, and eventually once the walls are really thin, I think we might be able to get it out. So wish me luck and that this goes smoothly. This is definitely not what these are used for, but a Torx might be able to get a good bite on it, good enough to come out. Reward almost did not pay off that time, but you guys can see that we finally have the new jet in there. Took me way longer than I thought it was going to, but we still have the original carburetor. We are good to go. So now we can go ahead and start putting everything else back together on this half, but I still have some more stuff to take apart on this. You guys can see that's pretty gunked up, pretty dirty. So we're gonna go ahead and clean that up too. All right, so once this little guy is screwed in place, that's the only thing that keeps this from sliding back and forth. Once you take those screws out, this piece right here will just freely come out. But I can tell you right now that this is already like way smoother than it was before after it's been all cleaned up. All right, so we've got one slight difference. You guys can see the one on the left is the new one, and the old one had like this little ring around the top. So what's really interesting on these older machines is the quality of material that was used. This right here looks like it's made out of brass, and there's just a lot of like high quality castings on this stuff. Whereas most of the stuff that you see nowadays is pretty thin. It's usually not as strong. Pretty sure you could run this guy over with a truck and it'd probably still be okay. I mean, those are some big old thick cast iron bad mamma jammas. So anyhow, all I have left to do is put the 4 screws in the top, get it all clamped back down together. Then we'll run some new hoses, put a new filter on, and we'll see if it fires up. I don't know. I'm gonna be optimistic. I think it's gonna fire up. All right, well here she is in all her glory, all put back together. Everything's nice and clean. Whoop, I forgot the one gasket up top. So this is a pretty thick gasket. The one that I took off, he had put some RTV on. So I might take a look at the intake manifold on the machine real quick to see if it's gunked up. Well, a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that off before we bolt it up there. All right, well, a smart man would probably hook up the air filter to run this thing, but also, I'm pretty sure that's not gonna be very clean. So we're just gonna go ahead and try and start it without an air filter for now, after we get the fuel lines hooked up. The choke's gonna be pretty easy to hook up, and then I don't think this thing's gonna be super awful to get hooked back up either. All right, so I don't know what's gonna happen right now, but we have all the linkages kind of hooked up. They're kind of weird. I'm not exactly sure what's supposed to happen with all of these. They don't move very freely, so these may be kind of seized up a little bit, but I'm assuming we'll just go halfway. And then let's see. That is not choked. Oh, that's not choked. And that is choke. So we'll go ahead and choke the engine a little bit. We'll see if she fires up. All right, we're gonna hook up the top Dawn for a little extra loving because I forgot to charge it last night. Oh, come on. All right, let's see. power. Okay, good to go there. We are leaking gas somewhere out of the carburetor. It's coming out of the intake. I'm not sure what's going on there. I may have to take it back off again and see what's going on tomorrow, but we're gonna go ahead and try and start it. All right, well for tonight, I think I'm gonna have to admit defeat. I've been trying to start it for about 10 minutes. I think I heard it pop once out of the 20 times that I tried starting it. So I think we'll hit it again tomorrow morning and hopefully we'll have better luck. So I'm gonna remember for sure to put the battery on the charger tonight, and then tomorrow we'll start getting the voltage meter out, seeing what has voltage, what doesn't, because I'm thinking that the spark plugs are not getting any spark. And that's the reason that it's not trying to fire. So we gotta check out the magneto, see what's going on there, try and figure out the linkage a little bit, try and figure out what's leaking, but I'll be back at it first thing in the morning and I'll see you guys then. All right, so we're gonna use a battery that's got some gusto. We're gonna rob the battery out of the F350. So I don't know what's going on with that battery that's in the welder, but every time I hook it up to my charger, it just like starts discharging. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that. Come on, let's go. All right, so I'm curious to see if my charger has issues or if it's the battery that has issues. This is a pretty new battery. I know that it's good, so we're gonna go ahead and hook up the charger to it and see if it still goes into its current discharge mode. Yep, you guys, I think my charger's no good. I don't know why it's doing that. Time to go in the trash. You know what, I probably should have done this right from the get-go. I'm gonna go ahead and take the top cover off. I don't even think it's bolted on. Maybe. It's got one bolt holding it on. Yeah, I should have done that forever ago. Look at all this space I have to work now. And got a little bit of a mess back here, so we're gonna blow this out. All right, so I'm kind of drawing a blank a little bit on why the magneto is not creating a spark. From what I can tell, it has good ground. And I think this cable is actually a ground, not a positive. That's from the little bit of research that I've done on the internet. I think almost everything's internal on those things. So I'm gonna go ahead and run over to my neighbor's house, who is much more well-versed in these old machines than I am, pick his brain a little bit, and we'll see if I can get him to come over here and poke around and see if he can figure out why this is not creating a spark, because as of right now, I'm not sure why this isn't even trying to fire. So if my memory serves correct, when we first tried firing this thing up, I think like a rat's nest came flying out of the exhaust. So I guess technically it is possible that there's like some debris in there that is preventing it from firing correctly and letting it breathe how it's supposed to. So we may be taking off the exhaust manifold, the intake manifold, basically all of this. All right, so I got a little bit more educated on how these things work right now. He said basically there should be a cover that comes off, and then you gotta make sure that the points are clean. And he said that if I was still having a hard time, he would come over in a little bit. So I'm thinking this is the cap that he's talking about. There's 4 flathead screws on this guy. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this cap off. We're gonna make sure that all the points are clean. Oh, I'm wondering if it's this guy actually. I think we're gonna do this outer one first. All right, guys, well, we are about to get somewhere. I just heard one pop come out of this thing. I cleaned some of the contacts. I think it's gonna start. Let's cross our fingers. Let's go ahead and turn this back on. Come on, baby, come on, come on, come on. Oh, you know what, shoot. Probably would help if I turn the gas back on and put this back in the carburetor. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and turn the gas back on. Okay. Come on, baby. We're gonna go ahead and give her a little bit of help. You know. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Ooh, she's spitting a bunch of nasties out of there. Oh, it's raining rust, guys. That's not a good sign. There are chunks flying all over the place out of this thing. But let's keep it going. She lives! Come on, girl! Go! No. Ooh. Man, you guys, this thing spits so much dust everywhere, but she sounds pretty smooth. Listen to this thing. I'm not sure what's going on with the fuel yet, because if I let go of this, she dies. So we gotta figure out what's going on with that to keep it running smooth. Holy smokes, guys. Unreal. I'm so excited right now. Oh, I almost forgot. Here we go. Just had a special guest show up. Got Mr. Josh. It works.
Sounds loud. And it smells great though.
Yep. Oh, that's from the Cummins. We're gonna go ahead and see if we can shut it off now.
Woo, baby.
She works.
Dang, dude.
Yeah.
That's
You
right.
should have seen this thing when it fired off, dude. There was crap everywhere coming out of this thing.
It's a little loose, but you know, slight modifications.
It doesn't matter. Needs to be. Ooh, that's hot.
Yeah, don't touch it too.
Ooh. All right, so I guess the next test is to hook up some welding leads to this thing, see if it still welds. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the GMC out of the way. We're gonna grab those welding leads that we had hooked up to the other guy. We're gonna see if it works. All right, well, we have quite the audience now.
In case anything goes wrong, I've watched a CPR video once.
I was CPR certified one time. I've given it to people who don't want it. But
Well, we're gonna go ahead and see if this whole thing works. I don't know. Here we go. Probably put this on.
Is getting buried at the ranch your final wishes, or like, do you want to go somewhere else? Buried at sea?
I want to be buried in my Peterbilt in a big cement tomb in the middle of that field.
All right, you got it.
So when they bury me or uncover me 10,000 years from now, they're gonna be like Egyptian level.
We might have to sell some stuff. Concrete's expensive out here. If we need that much.
That's true. Maybe?
On that carburetor?
So
The balance between the...
I adjusted the, I don't remember what it's called. The idle screw. We're gonna go ahead and try and weld one more time. See if we can get it a little bit nicer than that. So overall it did pretty good. This second weld was a much nicer pass. A little bit too hot, blew some holes in it, but not the worst weld in the world. A lot better than that side. Well, did another pass while we were trying to adjust the welder over there. So that's why that's so ugly. But overall, I would say today was a huge success. And I'm gonna try and fix that cattle feeder with that welder now. But definitely gonna take it outside to where it can breathe because it still kind of stinks in here. All right, so I don't know that we're actually gonna use the gas-powered welders to fix this thing, but I do need to fix this feeder right here because we had a little incident probably about 3-4 days ago where we had a cow get stuck in our other feeder. So I'd already replaced one bolt over in that corner. I thought it was a lot sturdier. I started cutting this guy. It almost came down and fell on me. So there may be some entertainment coming up here shortly. What's up, Mike?
What's happening?
We'll fire it up here in just a second if you want to see it. Pull that part.
Centering her back up.
Center her back.
All right, so pretty much everything's back together other than this bottom side right here. You guys can see how this is just like super falling apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right here. Then I have this square tubing right here, which I think will fit over that. And then once that's there, we'll go ahead and move this up and weld it into place to the bottom again. I almost wish I had just a long stick of that. You guys can tell this thing is like completely falling apart. We got this bolt right here, which is just barely hanging on for dear life. Oh, ooh, that lighting's awful. Let me go ahead and get flipped around. So I'm not gonna do any sort of cleaning. Typically it should be way cleaner, but I think I'm actually gonna try and stick weld with this thing. I think I'm gonna turn the amperage down just a little bit though, because she got a little bit toasty right here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and step out of the shop for a minute, let it air out. A little bit on the stinky side in here. Burning the eyes just a smidge. All right, so you can definitely tell that this welder is on the older side, obviously, but you have to utilize the choke to get this thing started. Maybe she's already warm.
Just kidding.
I'm a liar. Maybe?
Yeah, deal. Wanna be split?
No, there's still a decent amount in there. All right, let's see what's going on.
Just a little break clean, yes, sir. Come on, old girl. Is there any fuel in that filter?
Oh. Every time. All right, so we're gonna have to take a little break again because it's awfully fumy in here, and we're gonna go look for some horizontal pieces to finish repairing this thing. But we may use the wire welder for this because that stick welder's just like burning through everything that we touch. So I think we're gonna go ahead and give the old Lincoln a break, and we'll probably pull the Millers out after this. But we're gonna go for a walk. We're gonna try and find some pieces that would work for that. Rebar is a suitable option right now, but we're gonna see what we got. All right, well, I think as far as repairing the feeder goes, I think we're just about there. We still got some like fairly large gaps right there, but this thing had been repaired previously by someone else, and it's kind of weird spacing right there. So if we were to put a bar there and there, I think it'd be too small. So we're just gonna leave those as is. So the only thing left to do really is, you guys can see how I ground this one down smooth. We're gonna hit all the ones that we cut off because they're pretty sharp. Especially these guys down here because this is where they're gonna be eating, and we don't want these to snag on their noses or anything and give them cuts on their face. All right guys, well that didn't take very long. We got our first job with the mobile welder. So we're gonna go ahead and move the feeder out of the way. We gotta move Old Faithful out of the way. And then we're gonna take the nicest of the welders over to Ryan's. I guess his gate bracket just broke because his donkey was getting wild. So Ryan's on his way over with the mini truck. We're gonna see if his mini truck can handle a pipeliner welder. Then we're gonna go over and actually try and do some welding with it. So exciting times. All right, we're gonna go ahead and actually install the feeder real quick instead of moving it 5 times. So I'm gonna move my pickup truck out of the way, and then we'll run it down to where it needs to go real quick. All right, well, it's not as easy to pick up anymore. Oh! We missed our sweet spot. Let's see how it goes. I think we'll be all right. Well, I may have forgotten a couple things. She's still a little loose on that side, but I think we're gonna be good for now. I may just like tie that up with rope so it doesn't move back and forth. But overall, the feeder's way better. You guys can see this feeder right here. We had a cow break out that plastic liner, got stuck underneath it. You guys can see I had to sawzall this off right here. That's because she was completely trapped in there. So this one's gonna have to come back up to the shop. Probably won't do it today, but there is the piece for it right there next to the front tire on the motorcycle. But for now, we are done with the feeder. We're gonna run back up to the shop, get the welders ready to actually go do some welding over at Ryan's house. All right, the mini truck is here. We're gonna go ahead and get some stuff moved out of the way real quick. thinking probably the other way. Face the outlets towards the back. Oh, okay. How do you think it's gonna handle it?
What do you think it weighs?
I've read they're about 1,400 pounds. If we need to, we can set it in my truck.
You're going up the hill from here, maybe? It's flat to the house, though.
Okay.
We'll see.
I know, that's what I was gonna say. It's looking pretty close.
I know how mini trucks have like taken off, and you know that's cute and all, but I feel like mine's the hardest working mini truck of them all.
That's probably a true statement. I like the way this looks. I'm digging this so far.
It helps when you get one of the cheapest mini trucks.
You don't have to worry about trashing it too bad.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's got this expensive paint job.
Yeah, that's like 8 rattle cans right there.
That's custom.
You know, during COVID, they were expensive. All right.
How much were they? Did it really go up?
When I did the rattle can, yeah.
Jeez.
They were, but they weren't cheap.
All right.
We need battery or?
No, it's all good. All right. I'm gonna throw the cables in my truck though, because they're probably about 25 pounds a piece. We're gonna try and be gentle with the mini truck. All right, so the other night we had a pretty serious rainstorm, and there is a pretty big rut right there. When I say pretty big, it's like a foot deep. So
It's not fun in a full-size vehicle.
no, and this is not 4-wheel drive, if I remember correctly.
You're correct. Barely 2-wheel drive.
How's she feeling?
Not too bad.
Too bad.
A little foggy. Tires are a little low.
A little squishy.
We're gonna need that for some traction.
Just take that. Yeah, I would say far left. Oh, you're good. All right, so we're just running up here real quick. Josh is in his office. We're gonna see if he's ready. And when I say office, I mean bathroom. Are you ready? Are you pooping? How long are you gonna be? All right, see ya. He's gonna be a minute. All right, so I guess while Ryan was over admiring the craftsmanship of those beautiful 1950s welders, Willie was getting out of hand over here and decided to have some fun.
You know, I feel like it was meant to be. He wanted to see if we could be a mobile welding unit. We're gonna find out.
I think we'll be successful.
Right.
My problem with stick welding is I like to burn through stuff with it.
And this stuff is thin.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to turn that way down. And we'll just cross our fingers and hope that we don't have to bring a generator and a MIG welder out here. But yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and give this a shot.
You ready?
Yeah, fire it up. Beautiful. You're all like doesn't even hesitate though.
Yeah.
Like there's zero struggle on it.
So we couldn't put 2 outlets.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think the thing can handle 2 outlets.
Probably. You know, one of those cheap plug-ins that have the 3 outlets on it.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Now again, my stick welding experience is very minimal. So we got this thing turned way down, because that's pretty thin. And basically I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna weld it here just a little bit, try and bend those flanges over. Same thing on the bottom. I don't know.
This is literally the most bush league fix you can come up with, because we don't care about this game. I mean, it's important, but it don't gotta look good, it just has to function.
Yep.
Being the apprentice today, got you your stick.
All right, here we go. I'd say strike at a 90 and then go to whatever you like to push or pull.
Okay, I got no idea.
Me neither. Already failing. We're gonna have to edit that out. I think we need more
What'd you have it at when you were in the
90 to 190.
All right. Cranked her up. Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Hey, didn't even burn through. That's pretty good.
Years of expertise right there.
Right? You know, James is a bigger guy, but he one hands that 7-inch like it's a 4-inch.
Is that how this goes?
It is
Is that
now.
the right way, or is it?
I think so.
Around?
I don't know. Let's just tack it and then we'll cycle it and see.
Go ahead and pull it off real quick. Is it like that? I mean, it was welded right there. I think it was like that.
Yeah. It does weird stuff.
It's like that.
I feel like that binds.
It's gonna bind, yeah. I think it's gotta be like that.
Yeah, I remember it being at a weird spot.
Which doesn't give a whole lot to grab, but. So where was it? Right there? Where it ripped out?
Yep. Give or take.
Is that where you want it?
It looked pretty.
I mean, it looks up at an angle.
Yeah, I
to me.
come down with it. Yeah, about. Yeah, right there looks pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, let's give that a shot. I like MIG welding.
Yeah, me too.
Just roll on a little bit.
You want to see if that works before I go crazy?
Yep.
I mean, it's a little bit more than tack.
It's easy. Here goes the test.
Stick welding master. Add that to my resume.
Oh.
So far, so good.
I think we got it. I mean,
Oh, I heard like metal creaking right now.
she pulls a little tight, but I think she's just, you know, getting to where she wants to be.
That's probably why it keeps breaking, because it's like pulling so hard every time it closes.
Yeah, it's supposed to not. Well, this time Willie pushed it open.
You can see it pull on it already. You can see it.
Well, now we know where she wants to be. Should we just weld it at this angle? With that little gap at the bottom?
Here comes the pro. I think that's as good as we're gonna get today.
That's it? That's it.
That's all I got time for. But if you want to take over, feel
Why?
free.
Is it not fastened?
No,
It's pretty
it's
good.
on there.
Old Willie got out and then he pushed his way back in and ripped the old bracket off.
Well, I gotta hit the road. I don't have any time to hang around, but
It works.
that is a
It
true
works.
statement.
Appreciate you, sir. The mobile welding rig, you know, little airbags in the rear, and we'll get her dialed in.
We're gonna see whose repair lasts longer.
Yours are Dedic's?
Yep. How long did his last? Year and a half?
Pretty
Year?
good amount of time, yeah.
Oh, mark the date. What's today, the 23rd?
23rd.
All right, 23rd of February. We'll see how long this thing lasts. But I gotta run, and I'll probably wrap up this video when I get home. All right, we're just pulling back in. I actually had to run into town for a little bit. They finished my father-in-law's Peterbilt, which I think it's been in the shop for the better part of a month. And he's in Texas right now. So I did him a little favor because he's always helping me out. But you guys, this video today is beyond exciting to me. I love that we were able to get this thing up and running, that we actually welded with it. Now, I don't want to say that this thing is fine-tuned yet, but it's definitely running way better than we initially started it. But realistically, if I had to guess how long this machine's been sitting, I would venture to say at least 7 to 8 years, with the amount of spider webs, the amount of dust, dirt, all the grime that was built up in the fuel tank, all the grime that was in this fuel bowl right here, how cracked the fuel lines were, how plugged up the carburetor was, and just everything that was involved in this. There was so much rust that came flying out of this thing right here. So just the fact that this thing got started today, incredible. I'm still blown away that this did what it did today. But regardless, I am so excited to actually like try and find some manuals on this. I'm gonna start looking for some parts to pretty these things up, and we're gonna start trying to figure out exactly how like all this fuel, and we're gonna try and figure out how all this throttle stuff works. We're gonna try and pretty up some of the wires. I'm probably gonna go ahead and like start disconnecting everything, pressure washing it, grinding it down, making nice, good, clean connections. But that's gonna be in another video, and I'm gonna go ahead and... So I'm pretty excited to like actually start diving into this thing in a little bit greater detail. I need to find some manuals so I can figure out like the wiring diagrams on everything, because there's a couple wires down here that was totally just guessing where they went. But I would like to have like official paperwork on what goes where, so I can start to rebuild the entire wiring harness and basically have this like a brand new machine. Obviously it's not gonna be brand new, flathead 4-cylinder, that's like super old school stuff. But I would love to get these things just like super dialed in, because they are just unbelievably reliable. This thing sat for 8 years, still works. But I'm not gonna put the screws this video because I feel like I'm rambling and I'm just very excited. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed making it. It was a blast to do. I love working on old stuff. But if you guys like this video, if you could please share it with your amigos, hit that notification button down below, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. Totally botched how I regularly end a video. That's just because I'm excited. Anyhow, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Later.